Probably did not see. Respected Dr. Kalai Selvi ma'am, DG CSIR and Secretary DSIR, who has joined us through virtual mode. Dignitaries on the dais, Dr. Sridevi ma'am, our director, Dr. Shailesh Naik, director, NIAS, and Dr. Suman Kumari Mishra, director, CSIR CGCRI, and Dr. Patra sir, and all the dignitaries of the dais, colleagues, students, and invitees. A very good morning to you all. Well, we have assembled here today to celebrate our Foundation Day, rather, the first Foundation Day after being designated as National Laboratory as Director. Let us begin our auspicious day by lighting the lamp. I request the dignitaries on the dais to please light the lamp. I request Professor Brahmachari sir to please come on the dais to light the lamp. I request our financial advisor and JS sir, Chetan Prakash sir, to please join us in lighting the lamp.
दीपज्योति परम ज्योति दीपज्योति परम ज्योति दीपज्योति जनार्दनः दीपो भरतु मे पापम् दीपज्योति नमोस्तुते.
Thank you. Now, let us call Ms. Jeetkala and team for the invocation.
वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् सुजलां मलयज शीतलाम् सस्यश्यामलां मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी फुल्लकुसुमित द्रुमदलशोभिनी सुहासिनी सुमधुरभाषिणी सुखदां वरदां मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे Mataram.
Thank you. Thank you, dear. Now I would like to read a small poem written by our Hindi officer, Miss Nirmala. आसमान चूहा है, सपनों को साकार बनाया है, मुश्किलों तो आई हजार, पर चट्टान बनकर खड़े हैं यहाँ. समझो मत हमें छोटी सी चिड़िया, हम तो गरुड़ है, आसमान से ऊपर उड़ान भरते हैं, क्योंकि कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती, कुछ किए बिना जय जयकार नहीं होती. ये है हमारा CSIR 4PI and our director ma'am. Well, this remarkable milestone could not have been achieved, that's our national lab status, without the dedication and tireless efforts, relentless commitment put forth by our director, Dr. Sridevi ma'am, without which we could not have secured this prestigious status of national laboratory. I request all of you to please stand up and give a standing ovation with a loud round of applause for our director for this remarkable achievement. Thank you, one and all. Now I request our director, Dr. Sridevi ma'am, to please welcome our August gathering.
I didn't know, yeah, it's so embarrassing. Good morning and warm welcome to one and all. I didn't know that they're going to read this poem and give ovation to me. I'm very sorry. If I had known, I would have refused. I'm just an outstanding scientist with the powers of director of CSIR-4PI. So that time we didn't know that we were getting the OM, because to get his date is very hard. So I booked it 45 days back. So warm welcome to IX committee only gave us the national lab status. I welcome Dr. Suman Kumar Mishra, my very good friend and director CGCRI. Her also I invited in June first week. So we weren't expecting the OM by then, and then only she said she'll come. So warm welcome, Suman, for coming. And our former DG, Dr. Sami Brahmachari, Professor Sami K. Brahmachari, when I took charge, when I said that I started recruiting, he said, you only tell me once you get national lab status. So he was the first to whom I sent the OM, actually, the moment it came. A warm welcome, sir, that you're here. You could make it. And I would request Dr. Mutkavi to welcome him with the bouquet. Sir, no. Anybody else? He was the one actually in 2012.
Isn't Director General who gets all the credit for making it happen? I think you should communicate to her.
No, she's there now. The next is. No.
Thank you. It is for you it has happened. You can't hear me.
And my warm welcome to my beloved DG, I always call her that, Dr. N. Kalai Selvi. I hope she's able to hear me. I'm really... Namaskar. I can't express my happiness seeing you even on the screen also. It's fine for me. And without our support, we could not have done anything at all. It was like she kind of...
Thank you so much.
She kind of stood by us rock solid. I should say rock solid. I can't welcome her with a bouquet, but I would still say that. And I'm so happy that she's presiding over this function. Actually, she was in Hyderabad on Saturday. She was supposed to come here, but then something came up today in Delhi. But she said she will sit through the whole function right from beginning, and she was the first to log in before even we all started it. Thank you so much, madam, for being here. My support, her support from headquarters is so crucial for me to function here. So thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, and my pleasure.
Then I welcome Sri Chetan Prakash Jain, our financial advisor in CSIR, who had the moment I sent him the invite. He took some time, but then he was coming here for some other function, so he said he'll participate and he'll be there for the full function. Thank you so much for coming, sir, Chetanji. And I ask Abhimanyu to give a bouquet to and welcome the financial advisor. Welcome, sir. Welcome so much. And I must put on record for every GB, I would go. Actually, that one crucial OM of finance of 1997 is which gave us this status. And when we have officials who know that such OMs were there earlier and we could use it, and he was very supportive. Actually, whatever we are today in our organization, in the sense of having vehicles or going through all those GBs, I just message within 5 minutes he would reply. And it is something which is like amazing. So that kind of rapport I had with him. So I must really, I have no words to say. I'm so glad you are here, Chetanji. So very glad. Now I welcome Dr. Sudarshan, Director CDAC Bangalore. We started our interaction recently, and then we also that NSM ACSIR interaction. We also conducted one course for past 5-6 months. So, like, we are now collaborating full scale, and I request Dr. Anil Kumar to welcome Sudarshan. So I request my spouse Vinu Jade to give a welcome with a bouquet of flowers. Because they both are very close, so I thought it is the right thing to do. Our founder, head Dr. K.S. Yajdik, with whose name we named this conference hall. I welcome him. He was, when I was young, 21-year-old girl, the first time I saw him, he was my inspiration. So I request Parvez to welcome Dr. Yajnik with a bouquet of flowers. Former NAL director, Sri Chamchetty ji, that time I was a young scientist. The repositioning of CMAX happened in 2012. So he's here. The moment I send him the invite, he said he will come. And he keeps inquiring every time, what happened to your status? Where is the paper stuck? Shall I follow it up somewhere, etc. So I must really thank him because, he keeps asking whether I need any help to do. And then he did help quite an amount in this process. So I welcome Professor Sheshu, and I request our head of purchase officer, Vikas Chandra Mishra, to welcome Sheshu with a bouquet of flowers. And I welcome Renu Bhatt. She helped us in the HPC procurement, everything. And I know her also very well because she was part of our recruitment of scientists. So I'm so glad that she's here because, she has immensely contributed in the last 2 years for 4PI, even in the scientist recruitment and also in the HPC. I request Thangavelu, our former chief scientist, to welcome her with the bouquet of flowers. And welcome to Mr. Arun Manikantan Vati. Like, the first time I met him was as soon as I took charge, I went to policy section. And from there, we made a connection. And from this, I'm glad, I specifically invited him for this function because his contribution towards all our GBs was so immense. So I'm really nice you could come, Arun. And I request Rambabu, our AO, to welcome him with a bouquet of flowers. So now I formally welcome all the audience like NAL, my colleagues from NAL, heads of the divisions, our former colleagues. Ananda is here. Whomever I can see, I am naming. And my new scientists and the new staff who are attending the Foundation Day for the first time, a special welcome to them and all my other staff. So the hall is full. So that's a good thing. So we are increasing in our numbers. I'm glad that I could do at least one cycle of scientist and admin staff recruitment. We are in the process of doing. So it is my privilege to stand here on this day, on the foundation day of 15th July 1988. That is when I joined CSIR service in CBRA Roorkee. So, and it is the foundation day of CMAX, when CMAX was founded. And now we have become Fourth Paradigm Institute, and we have got a national lab status with the director position. So this will be the kind of a combined foundation day of our national lab and CMAX. So from next year, we will do our foundation day. And the roadmap document, which was circulated to all of you. So with these few words, I would not take much time. I welcome and thank each and every one of you to be part of this Foundation Day event because, we are already running little short of time and DG ma'am gave time till 12, I guess. So we will try to do it before that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for welcoming the August gathering.
So they got that flavor.
Just press one, sir. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Anil sir. Now we'll have a look at our promo video of our institute.
In a nation driven by innovation, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, under the leadership of PM Shri Narendra Modi, Union Minister for Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, and Director General, Dr. N. Kalai Selvi, CSIR has been at the forefront of technological and scientific advancements. CSIR 4th Paradigm Institute, also known as CSIR-4PI, located in Bangalore, is part of CSIR's network of 37 national laboratories in India.
Our institute is one of the youngest and vibrant organizations of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. We have two research divisions. One is Big Data Research and Supercomputing Division, and the other is Interdisciplinary and Data Research Division. The Big Data Research and Supercomputing Division hosts a supercomputing facility for the whole of CSIR.
Currently, we are hosting a new supercomputer called CHAMP.
This new supercomputing facility to the traditional as well as AI computing computational needs of CSIR laboratories.
We have been working on the indigenous design, development, deployment of cyberspace technology called network telescope.
We have designed our own simulator, vehicular simulator, using open source tools. So we have set up a vehicular ad hoc network based on JetTows, where we can do lots of tests, we can do lots of experimentation.
Collaborating with multiple CSIR labs for conducting different kind of artificial intelligence, machine learning activities.
Interdisciplinary Data Research Division. This is the one division where we have very niche expertise, whether it comes to GPS-based geoscience research or earthquake hazard or computational seismology, ocean modeling, then climate modeling, and impact of climate change on various sectors like agriculture, health, extreme rainfall events, etc. So we work very closely with all disaster management agencies of the country, like starting with our Karnataka State Disaster Management Agency, then we work with Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and then we work with Bihar, and in Himalayas we work with Kullu, Almora, and Ladakh.
We are running a network of broadband facilitation and GPS station in Kashmir Himalayas, which is basically to understand how the earthquakes are clustering or propagating in the area.
This is CSIR mission on region-specific smart agro-technologies for enhancing soil and plant health. This program, CSIR-4PI, is the nodal agency. So the goal is to provide crop-specific solutions in the digital strategies implementable at the farmer stage.
To nurture and empower future researchers and professionals in the field of science and engineering, CSIR created ACSIR.
Under ACSIR, we provide doctoral degree to the students. Mainly students work on the interdisciplinary research.
CSIR Jigyasa is an initiative that happens across all 37 labs, and here we have done some really path-breaking work in making the students know what are we doing here.
CSIR Integrated Skill Initiative is a PEM CSIR project. Under this program, basically we conduct three kind of trainings. One is Spark. So in this, students can apply for an internship. The other training is industrial visit. And third kind of training is the advanced training.
At CSIR 4th Paradigm Institute, we are driven by a shared passion for scientific excellence and innovation. With our interdisciplinary approach and state-of-the-art we are dedicated to making groundbreaking discoveries and solving challenges that impact society.
Next 10 years, our focus is to become one-stop destination for the data science needs of CSIR and a center of excellence for AI, ML and DL needs of the country.
Well, friends, that was a short video about our institute's infrastructure and facilities. Now I request Dr. G.K. Patra sir, our Chief Scientist, to introduce our Chief Guest, Dr. Shailesh Naik, to the family members of our CSIR-4PI and others.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, today is a very auspicious day. Being an Odia, today is the return Rath Yatra. So, and this auspicious day, like Jagannath is returning home. So on that auspicious day, we are celebrating our Foundation Day. So I'm very happy to introduce and honored to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Shailesh Naik. First, on behalf of CSIR-4PI, let me congratulate Dr. Naik for being conferred the civilian honor of Padma Shri for the year 2024. It's a great honor. In fact, he has got this for the science and engineering category, and getting from earth science, it's a great honor for all of us because earth science is very close to 4PI's activities, other things. So a big round of applause for Dr. Naik. Currently, he is the director of the National Institute of Advanced Studies in Bengaluru, and also he is the chancellor of the Terry School of Advanced Studies, Delhi, and he is the editor-in-chief for Journal of Indian Society of Remote Sensing and life trustee of Indian International Center in New Delhi. Born on 21st August 1953, Dr. Naik obtained PhD degree in geology from the MS University Baroda in 1980. He joined the Space Application Center, Indian Space Research Organization in 1978 as a scientist and led the coastal and ocean color research. Subsequently, elevated as the director of Marine and Water Resource Group. He was the secretary to the Government of India for the Ministry of Earth Sciences from 2008 to 2015, very long 7 years. He provided leadership for the programs related to Earth System Sciences in the country. At Earth System Science Organization, Indian National Center of Ocean Information Service, INCOIS, he set up a state-of-the-art early warning system for tsunami and storm surge in the Indian Ocean and developed a marine GIS for improving advisory services. Advisory services relate to potential fishing zones, ocean state forecast, and Indian agro projects during 2006 to 2008. His current research interests include building strategy for the blue economy. In fact, in the same conference room, he had given a talk on blue economy a few years back. And sustainable development and science diplomacy. He has published about 200 papers in science journals. Dr. Naik is a fellow of the Indian National Science Academy, New Delhi, Indian Academy of Science, Bengaluru, the National Academy of Science, India, Allahabad, the International Society for Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing, Academician of the International Academy of Astronautics, Paris. As I have already told in the beginning, considering the impact of his research in the society, the Government of India has conferred him with the civilian honor of Padma Shri in the field of science and engineering in 2024. In the same venue, we have already heard him on blue economy. Today, we are going to listen to him on vision of earth science systems. I request Dr. Shailesh Naik to deliver the Foundation Day Lecture 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I must apologize for coming late, almost 10 minutes, and keep you waiting. I'm really very sorry for that. Actually, I miscalculated the time, though Sridevi has warned me, don't depend on Google. But I thought I will depend on Google. So, but she was right or I was wrong. So anyway, thought I will share some thoughts about the earth science, because I know that 4PI has been done some of the outstanding work in this area. Can I change myself or you will keep it? Yeah. That would be better so that, yeah. As you know that the earth system as such, we consider as a single interlinked system which has 5 different components: atmosphere, biosphere, geosphere, cryosphere, and atmosphere. Now the energy and mass transfer within each component and across this component, that is what we try to understand, because that affects the weather, climate, and the hazards. Now, in this process, the human influence in the last 150 years or so has also started affecting the earth system processes, or the earth system processes also affects various of our activities. So this is the basic fundamental on which we have been working. Now, this subject, the earth system science, actually came in sometime in 90s. Earlier, the most of the work which started as a part of earth system was started with the geology, which looked at the large scale processes of mountain building or ocean formation, etc. But the next very important thing came is about the biology. The biology as a geological force became very critical, and many of those things which we are seeing, including the diversity of life, is because of that. But the important thing which happened in 60s, which the advent of satellite era, where we started looking at the earth in a different bands, in different frequency at different places, which allowed us to understand many of these processes which has a global nature. And that is why this became a sort of an earth system science. And once the computing and all also advanced, when we started assimilating the satellite observations, and then we were able to forecast many of these things which you see today. So basically, I think the fundamental thing is science, social science, and humanities. So that is why the earth system science is considered now as a nationally important science, because it gives various product services for the beneficial of the humanity. And basically, it also gives us the physical basis of the world in which we live, what we are trying to do. So that way, its importance is very high. Now, there are 4 major important things about the earth system science. The one is the variability. The most of the modes and the processes, they vary across space and time. And many of this, the process, which are of a quite long, beyond the millions of years to even like today, we have been talking that what happens in the Arctic of the sea ice melting in the Arctic can affect our monsoon. So that kind of a long teleconnections have been now found, which are very critical for us to understand. And most of the processes are non-linear. That means any abrupt change which can happen, when even the small change, if it crosses the threshold, it can bring a lot of catastrophic thing. So these are some of the important features of the Earth system science. Now, today, what are the major issues which we are trying to address? One, of course, is the weather and climate, which everybody knows that the climate change is one of the most important. And other is the hazard and risk. And many of the hazards has now increased because of the climate change. Third is the living resources and ecosystem. The water cycle is another major area. Energy and minerals, and what is happening in the polar regions. These are the most of the global challenges which we need to address. Now, in weather and climate variability and change, we know that the climate was very stable, about 15 degree or so during the Holocene period, which is around last 11,000 years, where the civilizations flourished. The what we call as the Meghalyan age, that is 2,250 years before the Common Era, there was a cold phase and marked by a drought which lasted almost 200 years. And this evidence was found in the cave in the Meghalaya. That is why it is called now a Meghalayan age. And this is the period when many civilizations were lost. Harappan is one. The second major change which has happened in last is in 1000 to 1400, where the sea surface temperature was about 2 degrees higher, and we had witnessed mega monsoon and mega droughts. And this is the period where India faced a lot of invasions from the Central Asia, Iran, and Afghanistan to India. The Mayan civilization collapsed because of the very high deforestation during this period. The Little Ice Age, which is between 15th and 18th century, where the monsoon precipitation was very low. And there was also a drought, especially in Europe and Central Asia. The agriculture and the economics declined. And this is the period when the Europeans, mainly the Portuguese, Dutch, British, French, Spanish, all of them came out and colonized the world. So there could be, it may be just coincidence, but I'm trying to say that the major changes in the climate has affected the world overall quite significantly. Last 150 years, we have seen that the temperature has increased almost 1 degree and the carbon dioxide up to 280 to 420. So this basic thing is what we need now is the synthesis of all the paleoclimate studies, especially in Holocene and Meghalayan age, in the Indian subcontinent, Arctic and Antarctica. Now, there are n number of paleoclimatic studies have been done in the country. There is no doubt about it. But there is no single synthesis available where we can say that this is how the climate prevailed in Indian subcontinent during last 11,000 years. We have data from Himalaya or some individual, but with that not been connected to each other. I think this is very important because if we can understand that, it would be easier for us to project what is likely to happen in future. Now, what is we have projected, the current projections is that the monsoon, because of increase in the temperature, the moisture will be higher and there would be enhanced variability in mean, extreme, and interannual precipitation. The rainy days is likely to increase in Northwest India. It has already increased. And also, there is a significant impact on the seasonal rainfall. In the Northwest India, about 8% increase in the seasonal rainfall, while there is a decrease in the rainfall in the Northeast, about 8%. Now, this has a lot of implications on the productivity as well as on the groundwater table. We also are likely to happen that the Northwest India, which is mainly dependent on the Indus, this And Indus Basin depends on mainly on the snow and ice melt, which is also likely to change. And this is our football, not only for us, but for the Pakistan. Unfortunately, we don't have clear understanding that what is happening to the snowfall and the in this region. Though we know that the glaciers are melting and all, but we are not very clear what is happening, what is the kind of variability which we are able to see in the snowfall. There is another projection that the main three rivers, Indus, Ganges, and Brahmaputra, will have a reduced water availability in this, which will also have impact on the productivity. But in general, what have been found is that we are going to witness more droughts and more floods. We are already seeing when it rains very heavily, and then there is no rain. And many places we are seeing that at the same time, in certain regions there are floods, but in the certain regions there are droughts. What was happening between 11th and 14th centuries is more or less returning back now because of these changes. Now, to address to this issue, we need to understand the impacts of the climate on the ecosystem, as well as the economic system, health, built environment. What affects us, that is what is we need to understand the impacts. We know the impacts on many things, but the what affects directly to us, I think there is not much clear understanding. The second thing is we need to do this. We need a regional climate models where we can say that in a particular region, what is likely to happen about, say, drought or a floods or a ecosystem. Instead of the global models, we will need highly accurate and reliable regional climate models. The third important thing is for adapting to this, we would need a local model which can predict the local what likely to happen. And so that we can plan necessary adaptation measures. You must be already seeing that in Kerala, during the monsoon, the sea level is rising and it is entering to many houses because of the erosion. They are also entering into the paddy fields. Seawater is entering into paddy fields. So it's already started happening. But if we are not having a good models to adapt to this in a locally, which is happening into the various regions. The other thing is we have extremely good drought information system. We have been telling that these are the likely to happen and the monitoring system, but it is not integrated with the socio-economic system. So we are not able to really understand its impact. Like the drought which occurs in Rajasthan, the people there are more adept to address to such issues compared to somewhere the normal droughts are not occurring. So we need to integrate this information system with the socio-economic system so that appropriate decisions can be taken. One of the important thing which is now agromet advisories which is being provided to the farmers, this has been now found to be extremely useful, especially in the dryland areas. And our almost 55% area is a dryland. Now, this we have now found that how this affects the different crops. Let's say in Karnataka, this has been found that pigeon pea, soybean, and pearl millet, there is a significant impact of using the science-based information that for the, and the each farmer gets about additional 4,000 rupees per hectare, those who follow this kind of a science-based advisory. Now, what we need is we need a decadal forecast, and good enough in the sense that what today is available is not good enough. We need available. Air pollution is another major area which we need to address. And here we need to understand the energy use, environment, and climate change integrated. What we have been trying is only measuring the pollution levels at different places and trying to find the sources, but that is not enough. What we need is why this problem is going to continue, because our energy use is not decreasing, it is actually increasing. And that is the one reason for the air pollution. So what we need is a long-term mitigation plan and the framework of the countrywide framework, how we are going to monitor and air pollution and what are the likely mitigations measures. One of the important things which is required is a focus on the atmospheric chemistry, how the different components are going to interact. And also there are certain reports that the air pollution affects the monsoon. The wet area will likely to get more wet and dry area will likely to get more dry. So there are several issues which we still need to understand. Now, this is very important because unfortunately, the focus of the government and the other non-state actors is mostly on a mitigation. The focus on adaptation is not there. And climate change is already happening. And there are many areas where people themselves started adapting to the new situation. And most of the time, this is not a right scientific way. So what we call them as an autonomous adaptation. Now, this we have seen that when the coastline changes, the fish migration, flooding of paddy fields, plantation, these are the areas which are uh, increasing the autonomous adaptation. And this situation, I think we need to address very soon. Otherwise, after some time, it will be very difficult to change people's behavior to changing scenario. The water cycle, we know that it is decreasing availability of water and per capita because compared to independence time, the population has almost become 4 times. But the water available is the same. So the availability of water is decreased. There is a change in the rainfall pattern, extreme rainfalls, and the low and moderate events have decreased. And because of this, it is changing also the groundwater table, the consequent about sea level changes, rainfall pattern, all this are affecting also the groundwater. And this shallow groundwater table, which maintains the base level into the river, also has been affected. So what we need is now comprehensive accounting system. That means for each grid, what is the water available? What is the requirement of the water? Not only the human requirement, but also the ecosystem requirement has to be developed. And this grid, we can choose maybe a 10 kilometer or 5 kilometer, whatever is possible. But that kind of a census, which we will need, and this census has to be repeated every 5 years or so. Of course, this 4PI has done fantastic work on this, so I won't give. But the important thing is that the northward movement has undercutting and this accumulation of stress. This is now beyond doubt that there is a stress has increased. I won't say much because Professor Gaur is here. He has done a fantastic work on this. But what we need is some coordinated program on the understanding the earthquake processes, including with the neighboring countries. Alone, our work on our side is not going to be sufficient. And we need, like, if you want to work in Northeast, we will need to work also with Myanmar. If you want to work in Kashmir, you need to work with Pakistan. I mean, I don't see any reason why we should not be able to work. So that somehow is not happening, but this is a need which we knew. And what I think is we need to do the complete understanding about the structure and composition of the entire lithosphere of Indian subcontinent. We have a large amount of data, but these are to be synthesized to understand. Then we should have a tomographic image of the, starting with Himalaya for the entire country. We have a very dense network of already GPS units, but this information by and large available only at the plate boundaries. What we need is the measurement of a strain everywhere, and that is where the SAR interferometry, which is likely to come, would be extremely useful. Also, we have not been sufficiently using satellite-based measurements on magnetic field and the gravity field. And lastly, we need a deep boreholes, 3 to 4 kilometer deep in the Indo-Gangetic plains, north and south of Narmada Zone lineament, Palghat Gap and Andaman Nicobar, to understand to measure actually the different aspects, which geophysical measurements at depth, which we have started now at Koina, but I think there are many such borehole has to be drilled to understand what is happening in the lithosphere. This is another problem which is we need to address is the sea level rise, and this is now invading many areas. Actually, large amount of area is under erosion. 55% of the Indian coastline is under erosion, and this, especially the problems, is much more serious in Kerala and Orissa, as we have been seeing. Now, what we need is we need to have the changes which are happening into our shoreline along with the hydrodynamic modeling to understand that what impact which sea level rise is going to have. We have about 3 millimeter rise every year, which can erode up to 500 meters in area which are quite vulnerable. So this is a very serious issue, but we have not been able to pay sufficient attention. The major change which is happening is on our marine fisheries. Those who are from Kerala would know that the sardine and mackerel, which were very prominently available on Kerala and Karnataka coast before 85, now they don't get much sardine and mackerel. And many people think that it is happening because of the overfishing. Actually, these fishes have moved northwards. And now you get in Maharashtra the bumper crop of a sardine. Also, you get sardine and mackerel on the east coast, which was never there. So we need to understand that what are the different stocks available at a particular region. And like what we do for the wheat or a paddy or a sorghum, that this is likely a forecast for a given year. Here also we will have to do that. This a particular species would be of this much available, and accordingly the fishing has to be planned. So this is possible today because we know that the physical and biological processes are interlinked. We have the information from satellite on the physical and biological process, and we can do an estimation of primary production, which can lead to a tertiary production. So this is in principle possible, but I think we need to further put emphasis to develop such models. The next is the ecosystem services. Will change, or what will happen to carbon sequestration. So these are some of the areas which needs our attention in the view of the climate change. Now, this will come only when we can establish economic value of the ecosystems, because most of the time policymakers would listen to us if there is an economic value. Now, we know the economic value of the provisioning services, and it's quite high. Like it is, mangroves has something around $3,300 per hectare per year. Similarly, for the coral reefs, also is pretty high. We need to compute this values for our areas, that the mangroves, corals, what is their economic value? Then only I think we would be able to go to the next step. And the second thing which is very important is, apart from the temperature which affects the coral reef, we also need to know what would be the likely pH levels, different IPCC scenarios, because the coral reefs has been able to adjust to the temperature. We are seeing that in Persian Gulf, it is 36 degree also it survives. But if the pH increases, it starts dissolving. The aragonite starts dissolving, and that could be much more harmful than anything else. So we need a lot of information on the acidification and the projections of the pH levels in the future. Energy and mineral is another very important. As we go from fossil fuel based to renewable, the requirement of the metals, especially nickel, cobalt, manganese, lithium, is likely to increase manifold. Second is, we have a gas hydrate, which is a solid methane, available in Bay of Bengal, also in Andaman and on the west. Is a huge resource which is available, but we don't have much idea that how do we harness this. Of course, ONGC has been actively engaged. They have already drilled 2 boreholes, and the results are still awaited. But in near future, we may be getting our energy resource from a gas hydrate. Now, I was talking about this nickel cobalt, the huge resource, about 500,000 tons of nickel, 250,000 tons of cobalt, and 39.3 million tons of manganese required. Now, we don't have this many sources on the ground, and this demand has to be met from the ocean. And we have the resources at the ocean, but there are many issues, including technology and the environment. Metals that we need to understand the complete life cycles, that where it occurs, how do we extract, like we have a lithium, there is a lot of hue and cry about lithium, which is in Kashmir, but whether we would be able to extract the lithium, when we would be able to mine, those questions are yet to be answered. We have seen that the blocks which was given for the private, none of them was picked up. Because unless you give the full cycle that this much resource available, this is the way you will be able to extract, this is how you will handle the waste, private participation is not going to come. So this area, I think we have to see very carefully and build the complete system before releasing the blocks. Polar region, there is many changes occurring. Don't worry about Antarctica, but we have a interest mainly because of the geopolitical significance and also to understand the science part. One is, of course, the weather, climate, and ecosystem, both in the Antarctica and the Southern Ocean. But one of the most important thing is how the Gondwana, breakup of the Gondwana, because the India and the Antarctica were joined once upon a time, and that fragmentation which occurred. If you see the Australia, India, and South Africa, and Africa and the Antarctica were all joined together, India only moved so fast and in the northern hemisphere. The rest is still remained in the southern hemisphere. So we need to understand what was the all driving force which took India all the way from southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere. So that is one thing. The second thing which we need is to understand about the space weather, which is now becoming very critical in the communication related issues. Also the biodiversity and the possibility of a drugs. So that is why we have been maintaining, we have 2 stations. We have a satellite receiving station also, see on the top. And this is our very modern station in the Bharti. And the third station is now also being built in Maitri, which the existing Maitri station will be preserved as it is, but the new one is being made because that's already now 40 years old, so it won't be able to work. Similarly, in Arctic, as I told you earlier, that the link between the Arctic and India about the monsoon has been very clear. Also, we have seen that the heavy rainfall in northwest, in what happened in Kashmir and Pakistan, have increased melting in Canadian Arctic. So we are now started setting up these stations. We have in the Canada and Svalbard. The Greenland station and Alaska is likely to come up very shortly, where we will also have a satellite receiving stations so that we get the global coverage. And the important thing is the access to oil, which is and critical minerals in the Greenland. So these are some of the very important aspects which also we need to address, and we should be, because already this Arctic has become a very critical area for most nations because of the resources which are likely to be available in near future. Of course, in Himalaya, we know that the glaciers are retreating, but unfortunately, we get only the data at a snout where the glaciers is, but that's not enough. What we need is the how much mass has been changed, because that is what will tell us that what is likely to happen. Now, for that is available for very few glaciers. And the GRACE data says that about 4 billion tons of ice is melting annually, which is a quite large amount of ice. Now, this much ice is removed. What is likely to happen to the Earth in the what we call as the kind of deformation which can be associated with the glaciostatic adjustment, which is this understanding is not there. So when something is removed, what is likely to happen? Now that kind of thing which we need to understand. And lastly, the Himalaya is very important. We need to have the continuous measurements about the radiation atmosphere. Currently, this kind of a continuous measurement is only at one place in Chandra Basin, which is not enough. We need continuous measurements at least in 30, 40 locations to understand this. The river basins, the major river basins, which we also don't have information on the kind of precipitation happening, especially on the higher reaches, that also we have no idea. We have been talking about early warning systems, but actually there is no early warning system available. Early warning system has 3 major components: that how early you are giving, whether one date, one cover, one month, what is that? That is not very clear. Second thing is like landslide. If you want to really give early warning, that means if people are around, you should be able to evacuate them. So at least few hours before it should be available. Now, do we have that kind of a system? We don't have. But I have seen that many claim that we have early warning system, and actually we say that it didn't work. If there is early warning system, it should work. And that the whole component, the observations required, say for the entire Himalaya to make any early is not available. If you have the observation at 1 or 2, 3 places, and then you say that this is an early warning system, I think it's not a right thing. We should be very clear that what is the hazard generation process and how fast or how soon we would be able to model them and then give a predictions. The earthquakes also, we don't have idea, but we can start with probabilistic forecasting. And the one thing which I think is very essential is that what I say is Himalayan Science Council, the network of all scientific research institute, not only in India, but in all the Himalayan nations, that means Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Pakistan, China. That is what is needed for us to understand about the Himalaya, because Himalaya is not affecting only us, but it has a global impact on variety of things. Now, lastly, what I would like to say is that we have a pretty good knowledge now about the Earth system. What we don't have is, based on this knowledge, what kind of a governance or policy or infrastructure required. This is where we have a gap between these two. And the last is the human behavior, which also depends on our knowledge, like what I gave example of adaptation. If you don't provide proper knowledge-based system for adaptation, the human system, their lifestyle also will be different. And if people are not able to understand, which indirectly also will affect the entire social system. So we need to integrate our knowledge about the Earth system with the existing social system and the human system. Then only I think we would be able to attain sustainability. These are some of the institutes, mostly Earth System Science Organization and CSIR, NGRI and NIO, where I have been very closely associated. What I said is done by all these people. I have not done anything in this. I am only presenting to you. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a holistic view of the whole Earth system sciences. Believe us, we are working in many of those areas that you have presented, and few areas where we are not working, such as energy, minerals, and rare earths and all. We have our guest of honor today, Dr. Suman Kumari Misra, who has been from the National Meteorological Laboratory, Jamshedpur, where she worked for more than 25 years. And then currently she is the director of CSIR Central Glass and Ceramic Research Institute. So welcome, madam, for this one. And I'll just give a very brief introduction of her. She has served as the director of CSIR Central Mechanical Engineering Research Institute and the CSIR IISAB for a brief period, in addition to her role as director in the CGCRI. Dr. Misra did her PhD in Material Science from IIT Kharagpur and is a gold medalist in her master's degree in physics at Ranchi University. Dr. Suman Kumar Misra has contributed very significantly to the understanding of mechanisms and development of advanced ceramics and their coatings, like high temperature materials, composite hard and tough coatings, corrosion and wear protection coatings for different industrial applications, energy materials such as thermoelectric and solar reflector coatings by different advanced processes. Besides her basic and applied research, she has a very good industry connect. She has carried out projects for leading industries such as Boeing, USA, Tata Steel, Aditya Birla Science and Technology Group, and has joint patents with many of those industries. 2 of the technologies have been transferred. She has an impressive career with 15 patents, more than 120 SCI publications and chapters in 7 books. Her excellence has fetched several coveted awards, including NASI Fellow, Metallurgist of the Year Award, Vasvik Award, MRSI Medal, Raman Fellowship, CSR Young Scientist in Engineering Sciences, and many Best Paper Awards. She has served as Dean and Associate Dean for Engineering Science in ACSIR for 10 years. This is where actually I met her and then we have been interacting after that. She has guided 6 PhD students and around 40 MTech theses. She's an associate editor for IIM Springer, and also Defense Journal. As evident from her industry connect as director CGCRI, she has catalyzing technology transfers, industrial projects, and strategic projects for the components rather than only material development. Major projects are in the area of sensors and their manufacturing ecosystem for structural health monitoring, high power lasers, 10 kilowatt solid oxide fuel cell development and demonstration of at HPCL, waste to wealth mission projects, hydrogen mission, space grade optical glasses. Besides several projects and few new areas of research also she has started in CGCRI. Many industries are brought in collaboration there and they are funding now projects in from Tata Steel, Saint Gobain, and there are many more. Different government agencies projects were also started mainly from MIT, MOES, ICMR, DBT, Textile Ministry and Railways. Besides different ongoing new projects started with DAE, DRDO and ISRO. Thank you, madam, for coming today, and then I request you to address this gathering.
Very good morning to all of you, and thank you, Dr. Patra, for kind introduction. I am standing here, I am feeling very humbled that many of the mentors are sitting in the first row of, particularly I would like to name Professor Samir Brahmachari, who has been mentor personally to me as well as to the CSIR. And what I see, one thing that CSIR is here, whosoever is sitting here, including Dr. Salesh Nayak, the chief guest of today, Professor Gaur, and rest of everybody has something in CSIR with them. So I'm very proud of CSIR. And I know many of you are, wherever you are talking about CSIR. Dr. Kalai Selvi is online. DG Madam, thank you for your support for all the CSIR. But besides that, I would like to say that CSIR has been always a visionary. That's why it has a pride that we are the first R&D institution of government of India. After that, only whether any organization comes of R&D organization, I know Dr. Bhatnagar and many other, if I start naming, there is a very big long queue who visioned it right from 1916 onwards to have a CSIR kind of organization. And we were the people who also helped to establish ISRO, DRDO, and DAE, whatever. So that's we should be proud enough wherever we are. And here, every one of you are CSIR, even in the, I don't know, in the YouTube, how many people are connected, but at least who are visible, including DG, we all are, many of us are the CSIR person. And this particular institute, I remember the CMAX mathematics that time, surely I was not the CSIR person, but CMAX has come as a separate to have a mathematical modeling and other things to be done. And this was the vision of those leaders. And gradually, when it became 4PI, that time Professor Brahmachari was the DG, where I remember sometime during ACR formation and in one of the Senate meeting, its name should be in his typical style. Many of you know what he is. It should be, he will put as like this, iska naam para 4th paradigm shift hoga. I am witness to that. I was there in that particular day when he was discussing. So I am very happy to note that this institute has got the national level institute. I am sure in the able leadership, and here while getting this national level status, will be coming, because when I was the additional charge of CMARI, that time I used to tell them, look, you can be spouse of all 37 labs of, because none of the area can be worked without the mechanical, if you want to make a device. Similarly, today 4PI has got the same status. Today, talk of the area with data science, be it whatever the field. I come from a material science and engineering lab, where we need many helps. Whatever technologies today Dr. Nayak has told, here everywhere you need technology either to mitigate or to adapt all these changes which is happening. But how do we do? Renewable energies are required. Is there any material which can give you a much more solar efficiency photovoltaic cell? Still we don't know. Still we have a maximum at the single cell level, only 36%. And when you come into the cell integration, you get hardly we are very good, then you are able to good design, then you are able to reach 23% or 27%. That too from the best labs of the world. So can we do with the help of the AI, ML, and the our modeling group, along with the experimental people, data science, marriage of a data science, AI, which will give me the very good analysis of the available literature, the design, whether what kind of a designing we should do for the materials, so that we can get a desired property of that kind of which is required. We are working on hydrogen storage materials. See, hydrogen has come today as a boom, but it's not that it has not been looked into. You look at the literature in the last 30 years, people have worked on hydrogen storage material and transportation, but still, we don't have a real good hydrogen storage material which will solve the problem of today transportation. Because even if we generate hydrogen by whatever methods, transportation is an issue. Dr. Nayak did say that we have a lot of nickel, cobalt, and other materials which is in the ocean. I know NML and IMT had the flow sheet and they can do that. But the transportation was the issue and it is not a viable. Can we do under ocean mining? What kind of a technology and what kind of, so if with the database, because data is there, but somehow the data is not accumulated and sometimes technologies are not there. Can we predict in a better way? Like this, probably if I go, I have a very less time. She has given me 10 minutes. I know Dr. Kalai Selvi with a lot of patience. She is still sitting there because she has been made president to give the presidential address and she cannot be put ahead of me or to even. So what I say like this, if I start talking, probably each area we talk, these are the issues which we have to have. Let us work together, but there are a lot of challenges. Material science and engineering particularly has not still geared up. Still, we don't have that kind of expertise available. We don't have a marriage of those people who can work together and the data is available in there so that the statistics is right. Otherwise, it may take you very wrong. You were supposed to go south and you will go to somewhere east. These possibilities are there, provided the good database and how to know the database to remove, what are the different designing capabilities are there. Probably if we work, it also gives us one chance that in the let's say 10 years or so, if we all really work in terms of the data science, using as a material science engineering person and making a product development, CSIR is one such who is actually not only doing material research, but also they make the products and they transfer the technologies to the strategic people as well as to others. Here, if we are able to do that, along with the AI, ML, all other support, not necessarily India, even abroad, together, I think if you look at it, is only the imagination is limits us. We can be not behind. We cannot be the behind which we today say that, oh, USA has done this, so and so has done this. We can be very parallel, very equal, because all are data based and you get the gist of it. What's the best? Now it is the technology developer how to utilize that best. So we will be not that behind, and India, as it is going towards the leading of the world, probably we can also become the leading country and the leading the world of that. With these few words, I have one more concern. I think that it is not only a AIML, but there are many platforms which lab like 4PI or some other similar institute, they should see there are many still see ANSYS, Abacus, many of the softwares we are still using as a black box because it is not developed by us. Can we have our Indian platform? These people take a lot of money in the name of a license and we just go on paying them. And by mistake, when a student uses, now they sue us. And many of you are aware of it. Can we make this? Can 4PI extended now horizon even more, not only ML, and we do that. It's a requirement of the country. This I hope Dr. Kalai Selvi is also here. Many of the decision makers are also here. I hope CSIR will get some bigger project like that, and we do develop it. With these few words, thank you very much, and taking your time. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your remarks, ma'am. Now we have come to the much awaited address by our leader, Dr. Kalai Selvi, ma'am. I request you to please address with your presidential remarks, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Namaskar, Vanakkam, and pleasant afternoon to each and every one of you. Indeed, I'm extremely happy to be a part of this Foundation Day celebrations of Fourth Paradigm Institute. And my happiness is doubled, tripled, or n number of times because I could see lot of leaders, meaning is in the form of former DGs, former directors, current directors. I'm really missing the opportunity of meeting each and every one of you in person. But this darshan itself is giving me some kind of a very satisfied feeling. And now I do not know who should be congratulated first. And please, sorry if at all I'm not going to make any sequence. So I will simply put it in one form. This success of conversion of this 4PI from the form of, because 1988, if we start, Sridevi will say that 1988, we started as CIMAX. It took 25 years for CIMAX to get its name rechristened as grand success. That's why I said I'm not going to give any sequence, any grand success. That's why I said I'm not going to give any sequence, anyone. All of us are equally responsible. And of course, we should say one person who has really taken it as a great challenge and vision and mission and lifetime target, which is Dr. Sridevi Jade. Definitely, you need a special mention. Congratulations to you. So coming to today's event, I'm extremely thrilled because always listening to Professor Shailesh Nayak is a great opportunity. We are all blessed again today to listen to him. I always used to wonder, what kind of a personality is this Dr. Shailesh Nayak? Can I name him as a space person or a defense person, or he is an earth and oceanography related person, or whether he is an underwater submarines and deep ocean man? He talks about critical metals and minerals also. He talks about maritime ecosystem. He talks about maritime logistics. Sir, I'm really feeling so jealous of your capabilities and the bandwidth that you are having under your name and the way you handle every subject and every title. And you are ruling starting from space, earth, Himalayas, and also the deep ocean also. Please give us also some space somewhere so that CSIR also will find a place in your name again. So thank you so very much. And again, I'm excited to see Professor Samir Brahmachari ji, because when we were the scientist, 12th 5 year is a golden era, golden period for CSIR. Because all scientists, I still remember in one of the meetings, Professor Samir was fondly telling that I want all my scientific people to fly. I don't want them to travel by train, waiting for train, railway stations, booking tickets. I want my scientific fraternity to fly, reaching the venue, making the presentations, and fly back to their place. And they have to invest more time in research. Sir, many of the words, many of the quotable quotes, we still remember, especially I remember, and like me, there are a number of Kalai Selvis in the CSIR system. We fondly recall all your quotable quotes. And it was only during your time we all wrote the 12th 5 year projects. Still, I remember multi-fun. I still remember it was 14th of January when the whole Tamil Nadu was celebrating Pongal. I was here in Delhi and I was asked to make the presentation. Happily, I came to Delhi and made the presentation. I was the last one to make the presentation. And as soon as I finished the presentation, I had the total gift because Dr. Samir on the spot announced, I do not know how you will give the funding and how you will give the approval to other projects. But to this last project, I am approving it on the spot without even reducing 1 rupee from the budget. Sir, thank you so very much. And immediately you said one more word, which I carried. Actually, that word made my then director, Dr. Vijay Mohanan Pillai, to jump actually. You said that Vijay has identified a right person for the right job. This is the one, I think this is the award that you have given to me because Dr. Vijay Mohanan K. Pillai really, he felt very happy by listening to your great words. So we all grew by looking at leaders like you, Dr. Mashelkar, and many other visionary leaders. And whatever we are here, whatever we are talking today, whatever we are doing, whatever we are planning today, definitely we follow the footsteps of all the visionary leaders of CSIR, and definitely that list includes you because you only made the 12th 5 year. You made us to write the project proposal also in the EU format. I still remember. You only made us to understand what is this white paper. You said that without white paper, don't come to me. So thank you so very much for having brought that kind of a new style, new strategy, new fashion, even in the project writing, project presentation, and project management. So thank you so very much. I fondly recall many of the former DGs and always you also. Thank you so very much. And next to you, our Chetanji is there. So CSIR, even though CSIR scientists are doing lot of R&D, I think somebody, whenever they enter into CSIR family, they also, Chetanji should accept. I don't know whether he will accept or not, but I will make him to accept. The moment he reaches CSIR, he also gains some kind of a contagious energy. So Samirji, actually, CEL is now under the leadership of Chetanji. Once upon a time, people were talking about the disinvestment of CEL, and Chetanji, through CSIR channel, now he has taken care of this CEL. Actually, Chetanji will sell not CSIR, it is DSIR. So from disinvestment, he has taken it to the level of mini Ratna status. So this mini Ratna status is not a simple joke or it is not a simple activity. He will always celebrate it in the name of DSIR. But I'm little, I would say, selfish. So by always sitting in CSIR building, always talking to CSIR people, always moving with the CSIR fraternity, I think he got the contagious energy and he has utilized it. And I always tell my directors, whatever I'm asking you people to do before you people do, Chetanji is doing it, but he is not doing it in CSR, he is doing it in CEL. So that kind of a visionary leader, Chetan, is also today decorating your foundation day. And I should really appreciate Sridevi Jade because when you invited finance, you did not forget to invite admin also. So, and also you nicely justified why Arun is so important, why GBs are important, and how you got this. So thank you so very much. I should definitely talk about the sister lab director, Dr. Suman Kumari Mishra. She is a metallic lady because she comes from animal. And she now talks about ceramics. In between, she was taking care of CMERA also. So putting together, I think my CSIR family is all the time feeling so proud of all these kinds of leaders. Because especially after Suman's leadership, CGCRA has seen lot of developments. Industry Connect is amazing now. Technology developments are happening left and right. I think she has sequenced it in such a manner that the lab's visibility is really more and more. And Suman, hearty congratulations to you for your leadership. And CGCRA will never forget your leadership. So also the entire CSIR family. Now coming to Fourth Paradigm Institute, Sridevi Jade, she just made a presentation on the other day in the GB, and she made all of us to understand what is the roadmap. And friends, I'm really, I would say I'm extremely happy to know that you are working on supercomputing, you are working on big data analysis, and you are working on interdisciplinary data analytics. And I would say, so far I was telling that if at all a common factor has to be identified that can connect the entire globe under one line, I used to say it is only science and technology. Now I just wish to say, if we just look into the granular details, Even in science and technology, by names of science also sometimes we will fight. Physical science is greater, engineering science is greater, medical science is greater. But one tool that will connect the entire globe, I call it as an integrating tool, which is nothing but the data. That is what Suman was all the time talking about. Data, please integrate the data, integrate the data. It is not only, when you integrate the data, you are not only integrating the data, you are integrating humanity as well. You are integrating the universe as well. You are integrating the ecosystem as well. Therefore, the responsibility of Fourth Paradigm Institute is not so simple. Other labs can say that I'll do physical science, I'll do chemical science, I'll do engineering science, but you can't say which one you will do. You have to do all under the sun and everything on the earth. Or now in the language of Dr. Sailesh Naik, if you want me to say the entire universe, you should really have a perfect control in terms of your R&D. Nowadays, the one which is having a wider coverage, challenges are also going to be more. And I'm sure the days are not so far off. Fourth Paradigm Institute, you will be celebrated not only in the country, but also across the globe. And you should really leverage up to that level. And I look forward those days. So if at all, once upon a time, I thought that if at all I want to understand about the complete geography, I should watch only National Geographic Channel. But I think if at all an institute like Fourth Paradigm Institute is capable of integrating all the data and making it as a good movie, good documentation, good report, good project, I think you can also be a competitor to TV channels. I really mean these words. So, Dr. Sridevi, please, you encourage and motivate your scientists that the data integration, it should be given a totally different dimension. Data should no longer be looked at data, as number, as a numerical version, or as a graphical version, or as a scientific form. Please make it in a much more acceptable form. Because we scientists, we cannot talk anything and everything without data. Therefore, please integrate all the data. I also told at least 2 or 3 times in many meetings, data is always better managed and effectively managed by only business community. And data is very badly, or in a worst way, it is handled by the scientific fraternity. Because we create data, but we forget that how much is the data that has been created by us. Therefore, please ask your people, especially the young, because you have now a lot of new recruits and you have young boys and girls also doing PhD projects. So you motivate this young group as well as the middle group and also make them to understand that now your institute is at the age of 36. So 18 is a very important age at which you got the name changed into 4PI. Now it is 36 years. 36 is also a very important age for the institute. Therefore, this is the age at which you have to take it to a totally different level. So that kind of, if at all you read our Mashelkarji's booklet, so that kind of a pole vaulting that is required. And I think the time or the moment at which you got yourself escalated to the status of laboratory, I think your responsibilities are also getting escalated, not parallelly, but I would say n number of times. So make your entire team to understand the responsibility, ask them to do much more greater work, let them come forward, because now you don't have any limitation. Every team, all the 8 teams, you will find a place. Because I always say, and ML is the only tool that cut horizontally all the 8 verticals. Because normally persons like NPL and all, they will say there is no dedicated team for them. They will say everywhere we get a rejection. But in your case, everywhere you will get a green or a red carpet welcome. So make use of all the opportunities. Now the entire world is looking at only data, and you are it's a hot cake for you, because we people should think about how far this battery technology will be living, what is next, whether it is lithium battery, whether it is sodium battery, or it is going to be redox flow battery, or it is going to be nuclear battery. or it is going to be a hybrid. But you guys, you need not worry about it. As long as the universe is will be there, because again I fondly used to say, today my talking is the data, Kalai Selvi's existence itself is the data, Kalai Selvi's life itself is the data. Therefore, make use of all the data. All our lifestyle, our very existence itself is the data. Please collect all the data, integrate it, and make it for a good purpose, and present the data in such a manner that it should not look like a data, but it should give a kind of an, I would say, catchy story. Therefore, come up with some kind of a new methods of presenting the data. So I think because always I'm so fond of asking people to do, please do this, please do this. From now onwards, my expectation on 4PA will also be more and much more. Therefore, I'm very confident that without even disappointing CSIR to 0.01%, this laboratory will definitely come up and you will show your developments in the coming days. And I look forward the day the entire globe should celebrate you. And we from CSIR, we should at that time come and say, yeah, this is one of the 37 laboratories of CSIR. And that day is my target. Therefore, Sridevi, Jade, you and your people, please make as that particular day as your target. Thank you so very much. And Fourth Paradigm Institute, happy birthday to each and every one of you. Look forward greater success in the coming days. Thank you so very much. Namaskar.
Thank you very much for the birthday wishes, ma'am. And a big salute to you and for such an inspiring presidential address. In fact, as you said, you are envying Shailesh Nayak, sir. We all envy you, ma'am. And really, we are jealous. And also, we are proud that we are working under a leader like you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm humbled.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, now we have come to the event of distribution of awards for the outstanding performance by the family members of CSIR-4PI for the year 2023 and 24. I request Dr. Patra to please announce the names of the awardees and also give a brief about the achievements for the award, what they are getting.
No, you want to decide, like you want to give it from there itself or not? Okay. So awards are always an interesting part of our Foundation Day because we don't declare it in advance. Everything is done. I know. So we give awards in three categories. One is scientific categories, and that is given based on the evaluation of the annual performance. And there's a non-scientific category where we look at the technical and administrative staffs. And there is a student and scholar category where mostly the PhD students are there. And sometimes we give a special category for some special contributions that people do. So this year under scientific category, we have actually the bumpers award. We have three people who are getting the award. Okay, so let me call upon the names one by one. First one is Dr. Asapurna Marandi, Principal Scientist. This is for our major contribution in AI/ML research and also the HPC services. This she is getting for the second consecutive year. Next one is Mr. Chiranjeevi Vivek, Principal Scientist, for his contribution in GNSS studies and managing the associated network infrastructure.
This photo.
And the third one is Dr. Lakshmi Kantan, senior scientist, for his contribution to GSG program of CSIR-4PI and activities related to waste management. Now in non-scientific category, Mr. Ved Prakash, SO General, for immense contribution to the recruitment of scientists, the first scientist recruitment of CSIR-4PI after a long 10 years of its repositioning. He got able support from the junior secretarial assistant, Miss Aishwarya P. Venkatesh, and she is our second recipient of the award in the non-scientific category. And she is not available here because she is undergoing some intensive training at the CSIR CDRI, I think, CDRI. And hence I request Mr. Rambabu, Administrative Officer of CSIR-4PI, to receive the award on her behalf.
And for training.
Next is the student scholar category, where like the award is given by considering the knowledge product generation, especially the publications they have including the impact factor and other things. There is a tie in this category as well. So this year the award goes to Mrs. Smruti Sri Lanka, and Mrs. Rani Devi. So I request Dr. K.C. Gowda, guide for both the students.
Oh, passed out.
Take one by two photos.
Two photos.
We come to the special category. This award is given to employees who have contributed to the institute, not falling under the above categories, but increase the image of the institution. And this year, the award goes to Srimati Nirmala Bai Hindi Adhikari, who came from NL and established the Hindi section, and then started many things for the first time in 4PI. Thank you. So congratulations to all the winners. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we have come to the last event, that is vote of thanks. I request our Chief Scientist, Dr. Imtiaz Ahmad Parvez, sir, to please come and propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. We started from morning, now it is afternoon. What a wonderful event. I wish it should have just continued. But anyway, we have to close it, and this is my duty to present vote of thanks. Respected Dr. Kalai Selvi, our Honorable DG CSIR and Secretary DSIR, Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Director NIAS and Chief Guest of today's event, Dr. Suman Kumari Mishra, Director CSIR CGCRI and the guest of honor, Dr. Sridevi Jade, Director of CSIR-4PI, Dr. G.K. Patra, convener of this event, and all the distinguished sitting of the dais and my fellow colleagues. So on behalf of our institute, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to our DG ma'am, Dr. Kalai Selvi, for gracing us with her presence today and presiding over the function. Though you could not make it physically, ma'am, but your virtual presence has added immense value to our event. And we are honored that you have graced the occasion today. Thank you so much, ma'am. I sincerely thank our today's chief guest, Dr. Shailesh Nayak, for accepting our invitation and his insightful Foundation Day lecture that has enlightened us all and left us indelible mark on our minds. Sir, your pioneering contributions in Earth system science for the country is an inspiration for all of us. And now I request our director to present a memento to Dr. Shailesh Nayak on behalf of 4PI as a token of appreciation. Next, I am so thankful to Dr. Suman Kumari Mishra to be the guest of honor today. Ma'am, today your address has not only provided us with valuable insights, but also motivated us to strive for the excellence in our respective fields. Now I request again our director to present a memento to Dr. Suman Mishra. I take this opportunity to thank our director, Dr. Sridevi Jade, for her welcome address and who has been an inspiration to all of us in all aspects, and particularly for this Foundation Day. She was leading from the front and she has very macro level managed everything. Thank you so much. And I also thank Dr. G.K. Patra for welcoming our August gathering and for introducing our guest of honor. Off the dais, we are really delighted that we have many distinguished guests. And I would like to start with Professor Samir Brahmachari, our former DG CSIR. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing the occasion. And your visionary leadership to make CSIR 4th Paradigm Institute to become a national laboratory has finally been fulfilled. Thank you so much for coming. I'm also thankful to Professor Gaur for his continuous support to our institute and guidance in taking this institute from strength to strength. And I'm glad to see many of our former heads, starting from our founder head, Dr. K.S. Yajnik, Sri Shyam Shetty ji, former CSIR NL director, and also our head, Professor Sheshu, Mrs. Sheshu, Dr. Mutkavi. Thank you so much for your presence today. Our special thanks goes to Sri Chetan Prakash Jain ji, FA, MJS, CSIR. Sir, you help us at every level in making forward strides towards the consolidation of our institute. Thank you so much for coming and gracing the occasion. And we also thank Shri Arun Manikantam, Undersecretary CSIR, for joining us today. We have with us Ms. Renu Bhatt, Scientist ADA, who has been our expert member in execution and installation of our HPC CHAM. Thank you so much, Ms. Bhatt, for coming and gracing the occasion. I would like also to thank Professor Govindarajan, who could not come today due to some preoccupation, and he was instrumental in guiding us for the CHAM installation. We are very happy to see Sri Sudarshan, Executive Director of CDAC. Thank you so much, sir, for coming And you have helped us in HPC training rendered to our ACSR students on NSM systems. Now, again, I have a list for our director to give some memento as a token of appreciation. And I will start with Mr. Samir Brahmachari, our former DG, to accept.
You have to take
I remember when you were DG, you were not accepting, but now you have to accept us.
Hear me. I just want to tell that this is your credit. And this is our credit that you could actually convert it to a full institute. You know, I dreamt of it, but dream do not materialize. But, you know, all of us come and do a play and then move on. It is like winning the World Cup. There was a dream Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma had, and that catch made to win, right? So Surya Kumar Yadav's catch made them. So I will say it is your leadership, our persuasion. Thank you for giving this fantastic feeling. So I'm like a Rahul Dravid. Thank you.
Now I request Sri Chetan Prakash Jain ji, FA and GS CSIR, to accept our memento. I request Sri Shyam Shetty ji, former Director CSIR NL and our former head CSIR-4PI, to accept. I request Sri Sudarshan ji, Executive Director of SRIDAC, to please accept our token of appreciation. Now I request Ms. Renu Bhatt, Scientist, ADA, to please. Now I request Shri Arun Manikantan, Under Secretary CSIR. Thank you, Shri Devi, for giving. Now I will. I also thank our honorary scientist, Dr. Dutt ji, and I think Dr. Bhogle and EVS Prakasha could not make it. And my special gratitude goes to, I think he is not here, for their support to conduct this event. And finally, I thank our Office of the Director, and particularly Mrs. Radha Ramani, who has been coordinating this event very closely. Once again, thank you, one and all. Jai Hind. Now let us stand for national anthem.
नायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Photograph will take off.